you got your Switch 2s, you got your PS5s, and eventually PS6s or whatever. But do y'all think that there will be like another game brand that comes out and makes a console that like maybe isn't on the same scale as the PlayStation or Switch, but like or Xboxes, you know? I ain't mention Xbox because they pretty much out the game, if you know what I mean. Like Xbox it's over. It's over. I ain't gonna lie. I doubt. I mean, they may make a next gen system, but I don't know. But yeah. Do y'all think that there's gonna be like another company that ends up making a name for themselves and like? Do y'all think that the gaming industry is going to be dominated by Sony and Nintendo, you know, for much longer? Do you think that there's going to be another game company and system that comes out that like is like that mixes with both of them, right? Because I say this because you know, there's been non-stop talks about how gaming nowadays is worse and yada yada, how gaming is all about microtransactions and money and corporate greed and this and that. And you know, the people that have been, you know, Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft, they've been the three-headed goat of the gaming industry for decades, since I was a kid, bro. You know, it's always been your Wii's and your PlayStations and your Xboxes, and you know, those just been the staples. There's always been those three people making the game systems. But back in the day, you know, you used to have people like Atari, Sega, whatever other game company that was out there. You know, you used to have all these other brands making stuff too, and there was actually some competition. You know, it wasn't just Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. There was these other game brands that you wouldn't, you know, like that you wouldn't really, that you don't see now. Now it's just the three big heads, and you know, smaller companies make their games for those systems. But I'm thinking, right, it'd be pretty cool if there was a brand that made like a first of all a cheaper system, right? Because you know, the market is so flooded with either innovation or quality, right? PlayStation got the quality, Sony got the quality, and Nintendo got the innovation. Microsoft kind of got the not like the less of both worlds. You feel me? And listen, I'm not here to dunk on Microsoft. Y'all got an Xbox, but we gotta say the facts, bro. We gotta say the facts. The PS5 is the best running system, best, you know, graphics, whatever. It's the one for the graphics, and Nintendo's one for innovation. It leaves no room for Microsoft to be in either. And Microsoft obviously has been selling bad. They've been, you know, they're partnering with Nintendo and Sony to put the Game Pass on. Well, not put the Game Pass on, but they're partnering with them and releasing their games on their systems. It's over. It's over. All right. So we're not talking about Microsoft in this video, but yeah. But the problem that comes with those systems, they're so expensive, bruh. Gaming is expensive now. Everybody and their mama will tell you that, bruh. You feel me? Games gonna cost $70, and the systems are gonna cost like $500. So it's like, I wonder if there's any room for a system that's like not as expensive, but also, you know, maybe not as strong as the PS5, but strong enough to where, you know, you could play some good games, has a great catalog, right? Or the catalog speaks for itself. Because if you don't have that legacy that's backing you, you're gonna have to speak something, bro. You're gonna have to speak to, you know, your games is great, or you have some great innovation, or, you know, you're a really super big processing monster, right? But those boxes are already checked, though, you know, and by brands that are like famous. You know, you're competing with these giant, super big, famous brands, so it's like you gotta make a name for yourself and stand out in some type of way. And I've always been team indies, team small teams, you know what I mean? I've always been on the side of seeing what the average person or group of people can do, not these big corporations that have stocks and people backing them and paying money for decades and, you know, been around longer than I've been alive. You know what I mean? I've always been, you know, interested in seeing what the average person can do once they put themselves together with a group of people, you know? I made the video on the Playdate, right? The Playdate is this little, let me show y'all. So look. Also, fit check, Sriracha pajamas. We looking good. We looking good. Here's the play date. So this is a little, it's a little cute little handheld system. And it's really, it's exactly what I'm talking about, right? It's a complete system. So you could, it has its own, you know, exclusives on here. Has a little crank, so you can play games with the crank. But the problem is that the quality of life is bad. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be completely honest. I love this little thing, but I don't play it because it's not backlit, so you can't play it sitting down. You know what I mean? It's only gray, so this grayscale, that's all the color that there is. And it's small. You know what I mean? Little buttons. You know, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but the quality of life is so low that I don't want to play it. I'd rather just play on my TV. You know what I mean? So I feel like, you know, and this costs $200, bro. All right. I love this little thing, but I probably wouldn't have bought it if, you know, I was looking for like I wanted to support this and what it stands for more so than I wanted the product, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to support Panic and be like, yo, it's cool that you made a system. Improve it though. You know what I mean? Like, I want to invest into the company. But as a system, I really don't play it, and I really can't recommend it because of the quality of life stuff, bro. It's not backlit. You know, it's just missing things that makes it so it isn't gonna be super fun to play. You know, it's more once the novelty of it runs off, you know, the grayscale and then you know, it's not the best to play, you know, to be completely honest, bro. But here's the thing, they can improve it, right? Everything has room for improvement. So if Panic, you know, the company that made it, if they keep you know, working towards something crazy, they can take this and make it to something crazy. You feel me? But that's what I mean though. Something like that, right? A video game console, 'cause that's a whole video game console. It's not one of them little pre-installed things. I'm not saying anything wrong with those, but it's not one of those. It's not one of the things that you could play other like Nintendo games or Sega games or Sony games. It's not a little emulator. It's its own console with its own games, its own game making engine. You know what I mean? Like, it's a whole system. So I want, like, they can improve that. You know, and like have another game console not sit with the giants, but exist with the giants, because that's the problem. No other game console exists that doesn't involve the giants, right? These Goliaths that doesn't involve them in some way. No other thing exists besides that. And there's this other thing that connects to your TV, and it's like it's like a Xbox Connect, and it connects to your TV. I want to get that too, but I don't think I can record it, so you know, that's the problem. But yeah, so yeah, that's it. I just you know, I really wanted to like, what do y'all think? Do y'all know any company that's like, you know, cooking something? Game consoles, it's like the gaming industry. If you don't have a PC, right, it's so hard to play any of these smaller brands. If you don't have a PC, you can't really play these indie games without dropping big bread. So I want to see if there's an indie company that like props himself up. Maybe it doesn't even have to necessarily be an indie company, but it's more like gonna be an indie company because the other brands are gonna work with Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, not against them, right? So yeah, I just want to see, like, you know, what's to come. You know, it's always so exciting seeing what the future holds. But bruh, listen, if y'all like, look into the play date. If y'all like the novelty of it, it is a novelty though, and you are paying a premium. So, you know, it costs the same amount as a Switch Lite. All right. You know, so, but the potential is there though. You feel me? I want to see where the potential goes.